Alright, so we should be live right about now. Yeah, starting. Nice. And live. We are. Nice. So, as you could probably tell from the title, we're gonna be trying out some toonboom today. Now, I've tried Flash before. Didn't go too well. Animate. What is it? Animate. Create, keep. The hell? Maybe if I press. Oh, play. There you go. Okay, hold on. So. Ooh, this is weird. Drawing symbols. Huh. Delete. OBS reconnection successful. The fuck? What was that? I have no idea. So I'm just gonna erase all that. So let's just like ugh, don't like this. So I'm just gonna like increase the size a bit. There you go. That's a hefty size. So let's just ooh. By the way, I will be bringing up tutorials in this. Like, just bringing up tutorial videos. Straight up. Where am I gonna get colors? That's weird. Where do I, like, choose custom colors? Ooh, this is good. Should be somewhere around here. Top. Oh, camera? Drawing. Oh, shit. Fuck. Animation tool. Transform, translate, scale. Weird. No, you stay there. We have to insert keyframe, I think. No, I want to put that there. And lasso. The fuck? Where's the I fucked up tool? I guess I'll try something simple. Just deletion and then insert keyframe. So now just wait, why do these show no difference? Render and play. What? I don't think I get it. Let's just erase it all. Can I like set symbols, duplicate selected, lip sync? What? Oh my gosh! Oh, it's letting go frames, just like I asked it to. Nice. Pretty cool. I like the part where there was nothing. What's this? Select. Contour. Okay. Hand. Move displayed. Okay, so this is like the pencil tool. Nice, nice. Which is the tool that allows me to, which is the tool that allows me to, like, bonify something? How can I bonify? Bonify. I don't know what that sound was. Current drawing on top. This is what the drawing looks like, and this is what it looks like from camera view. I've seen videos of them like alternate the camera around. Oh, this is what it is. Okay. So I can't do that? Oh. It's not doing shit. But damn if it don't look pretty. So this is what it looks like. From what I can tell, this doesn't have any undo tools. Maybe it does. Hold on. I'm just gonna go for something like that. I'm gonna start in this frame. Huh. When I scroll through, it stays a constant. That's not what I want. Insert keyframe, because maybe with this one I can like select this. This is weird. I don't get it. Alright, let's just look up, I mean, can we? Yes, we can. Alright, that's enough. That's more than enough, actually. That's too much. But toon boom, harmony, essentials. I don't know what. So let's just toon boom, harmony, essentials 4. Why not? Actually, I could literally just check essentials 14. Yeah, there you go. Okay, how to use for beginners.
So in this tutorial, you'll learn how to animate in Toon Boom, even if you've never opened the program before. And if you'd like to download the animation that we create in this tutorial, it will be available for download at the end of this video. So Toon Boom is one of those things that seems intimidating at first, and there is a lot to learn.
It was intimidating.
But I believe that if you get the basics down and you start animating something right away, you'll find it's not that hard at all. Okay. So when you first open up Toon Boom, you'll be greeted with the setup screen. This is where you set up the size of your animation and also how fast it will go. So the name is what the name of your project is going to be, and the location is where it's going to save your project at. So Toon Boom, rather than just saving one file, it actually saves a whole project folder. So everything that you animate will be located inside a folder. So you'll want to make sure to set that location somewhere where you can open it up later. And your frame rate is how fast your animation is going to move. The higher this number is, the faster the animation's going to go, and the lower it is, the slower your animation's going to go. And you can always change these settings later, but it's good to set up from the beginning. And I like to recommend these settings of 1920 by 1080 at 24 frames per second. Pretty standard for an HD video uploading to YouTube. So once all your settings are set up, then we're going to press Create Scene. Yeah. So here's what Toon Boom will look like when you open it. Or at least very similar to your version, depending which version you have open. Before I talk about any of these tools or any of these windows, let me just explain to you a little bit of the philosophy of how Toon Boom works. So Toon Boom is a vector program, and what that means is if I draw something, rather than in something like Photoshop, if I were to zoom in on this, it would lose quality. But because it's a vector program, it's based off of curves. So what that means is
Sorry, my dad was calling me.
I can zoom in to as much as I want because it's a vector program. So if I draw something in Toon Boom, just with my brush tool here, you'll see that it looks kind of jagged and kind of rough and not look very good. And if you're familiar with programs like Photoshop or any drawing program, this is called aliasing. And the difference between anti-aliasing and aliasing just means how smooth the line is. So you can see here, there's like very sharp, rigid edges. Well, that's because we're in our OpenGL view. And the way I like to think of it is just, this is your animation view. You know, this is where you're going to do all your work, all your hard work, all your drawing and stuff. But then when you want to see the final, we need to click on this render view. But when we do that, it's black. Nothing's showing up. Why is that? Well, it's because I have a black line and it's on no background. There's no background going on behind it, which means it's transparent. If I were to draw a white stick figure like this, he shows up against the black background, but my black stick figure is still here. If we want to add a quick background, we can go down to this plus button right here, hold down our mouse button, and select color card. And what that does is it adds a white background behind everything. So when you add this color card and you go back into your render view, you'll see our lines are actually really smooth because this is what the final animation is going to look like. In OpenGL, even though it looks kind of raggedy, don't worry, that's not what the final animation is going to look like. It's going to look smooth and nice because Toon Boom's kind of awesome. This just makes it faster for your computer for when you're animating and stuff. So another thing that makes Toon Boom kind of unique is whatever shortcut you're using, like zoom in or zoom out, will depend on what window you have selected. See, I'm zooming in on my timeline. And if I click here, I can zoom in on my stage. And you can tell which window is activated by this red outline here. I like to turn on a setting, which is under Edit, Preferences, General. We want to click on.
Okay, so I might not want to show the guy's entire video. So that's just straight up stealing. I don't know. So, drawing something that's black, not a good idea, I'm guessing. So, I'm just gonna erase that. Well, it was a good idea, I guess. It's weird. Where was his color card thing, I wonder? Whoa. That's interesting. Hold on, let's go back. Gotta go back. Back in the past. Samurai Jack.
You're going to do all your work, all your hard work, all your drawing and stuff. But then when you want to see the final, we need to click on this render view.
Okay.
But when we do that, it's black. If we want to add a quick background, we can go down to this plus.
It's the plus, okay. Alright, nice, nice. That's weird. Eh. Okay. Okay. So, let's watch through again.
Button right here. Hold down our mouse button and select color card. So what that means, once we press OK, selected. See, I'm zooming in on my timeline. And if I click here, I can zoom in on my stage. And you can tell which window is activated by this red outline here. I like to turn on a setting, which is under Edit, Preferences, General. We want to click on this Focus on Mouse Enter. This is a really important setting that I personally prefer, and I know a lot of other Toon Boom animators prefer this setting as well. So what that means, once we press OK, that'll turn on your setting. So now you can see the window that my mouse is in will have a red outline around it. So instead of having to click to activate it to zoom in and out, it just automatically works depending where my mouse is. So for navigating around your stage, the spacebar will pan around so you can see your stage. Number 2 will zoom in, and number 1 will zoom out. This may seem weird at first, especially if you're used to like Photoshop, where Control Plus and Control Minus are zooming in and out, but normally when you're working in Toon Boom, your hand is going to be on the left side of your keyboard. You know, doing things like Control Z to undo, Control C to copy. So 1 and 2 is just right near where your hand is, and it just makes it super easy. To rotate your canvas, hold down Control and Alt, and you can rotate your canvas like so. And this is useful if you want to draw at a more natural angle, like you know how you tilt your paper when you're drawing. If your view is all messed up, you can press Shift M, as in Michael, to set your view back to the way it was. All right, enough
Side note, what the hell was that fucking Michael bit about? Alright, back to the video.
boring stuff. Let's actually draw something in here. Over here, you'll see all your drawing tools. And if your view looks different than this, or if you're missing some panels, you can always go up to Window, Workspace, and then down here, just select the default workspace, and it'll reset back to the way it was when you first started Toon Boom. So our tools are over here, and the brush tool, just like it sounds like, is a brush. And it's probably the most intuitive tool to use. It's the one I use the most when I'm animating. And over here, you'll see your tool properties. This is where you set up what your brush behaves like. Brush 1 is your default brush, so I like to set it up to be the way that I want it to be when Toon Boom first loads. So to edit your settings, just click on this big arrow.
Alright, let's find some settings I'm okay with, shall we? Color smoothing. Doesn't really show that, so I'm just gonna put that there. Okay, nice, nice. I think I'm just gonna stay maximum size, minimum size. Oh! Okay, so these control the outer layer. Nice. Awesome. I don't think I want any taper, so I'm just gonna put this at 41. There we go. That actually tapered it. Oh, fabulous. I'm gonna keep this at 0. Alright, now let's try this brush out. Wow, it's very zigzaggy. Nice, nice. Oh, what? Oh. Oh, that's weird. I don't like that. Can I, like, delete shit from my color card? No, I can't. Okay, good. Lock. Lock. Okay. Unlock. Oh, wow. No, thank you. God damn it. Can there be
Right
something less
here, and your
embarrassing,
brush
please?
setting will come up. So maximum size is how big your brush is going to be, and minimum size is how small your brush will be. This only matters if you're using like a Wacom tablet or any other drawing tablet that recognizes pressure sensitivity. Smoothing, if you like your brush to smooth out itself, you can set this up. Usually I'll do like maybe about 5 or so, because I like my line to still stay about.
Okay. So, I guess I'll do 5 as well. Didn't mean to do that. No, not 6.5. There you go. Contour. So this is what it looks like now. Nice, nice, nice. Nice. And then kaboom. Okay, can I explain myself why this is a Roblox Star Platinum? Okay, so I was looking up reference images for Star Platinum. Like, this one was very helpful for, let's see, where is it? Shut up. For, this picture right here. Okay. And it just so happens that when you Google, oh my, what the fuck? When you Google image search Star Platinum, if you scroll down a bit, you find this, first of all, which, who doesn't want that? You also find this. Find that a lot. Surprisingly. Oh my god. But you find this eventually, and I was intrigued. So, you know. That's my reasoning. So, yeah.
About the same. And depending which version of toonboom you have, you can also set up a texture on it. So you can get kind of a textured look to your brush. But we'll just use the regular one for now. And you'll see an asterisk, meaning that your changes have not been saved yet. To save your changes, just click this little refresh.
Okay, that would have been useful information. No, not the eraser. This, oh. So, wait. So I can, like, constrict this, but only to a certain amount? And then lip sync? I don't know, I don't get this. Okay, I'm just doing this for reasons. Don't have to question it. God damn it.
select button, which means update your brush preset. And now next time you load Toon Boom, all those settings should stay the same for your brush number 1. Now
Okay.
to explain the difference between the brush and the pencil tool, if I were to draw a circle with my brush tool and draw a circle with my pencil tool, and then select my point editor, which is my white arrow here, you'll see on the brush, all the points are on the outside. So it's like a filled in shape. It's not really a line.
Okay, so that's kind of what I was looking for earlier. So, boom. Shut up. So I can like sort of. Oh, what the fuck? Good enough for me. Why is this becoming undone? Okay, and I can like size it down and size it back up. This is weird. Get this. I don't get it. But let's just see what he means by the other shit.
Line, it's a whole filled in shape, but on my pencil tool, it's all these individual points. But the cool thing about Toon Boom, as opposed to Flash, is you can actually have pressure sensitivity with the pencil tool, and you can set it up to be just like your brush. But let's say if I didn't want this circle, if I wanted to like move these points over, it's a little hard to keep it consistent. But with the pencil tool, if I were to just move these points over, it makes it super easy to change your path that you drew. So it really just depends which tool you want to use, whether it's the pencil or the brush. Pencil is definitely more versatile, but the brush tool I find to be a little more intuitive, especially if you're a beginner. You also have an eraser if you need to erase anything. This is your type tool, so you can just add text to your animation, and depending which tool you have selected, you can edit its properties under this tool properties window. If you want to delete anything or move it around, just use your black arrow tool here. And to rotate something, you just drag it from the corner like that. To scale it, drag it from this corner like so, and hold shift if you want to keep it the same, and press delete if you want to just delete something. Your fill bucket will fill in any shape with whatever color you have selected. We'll talk more about color later. Your shapes are right here. So you've got lines, and any of these tools that have these arrows on the corner here, you can hold down your mouse button to see what other options they have. So we have rectangles, circles, and a pen tool right here. The eyedropper tool will select whatever color you use the eyedropper on, and you can see your colors over here. So those are all your basic drawing tools. Now let's talk about color. So the way color works in Toon Boom is if you want another color, you have to create it using this palette window. So to create a color, we're going to click this plus button, and then it'll create a new color. Just double click on this square to edit it, and you'll see your...
Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna like draw something real quick. Just perfect. Okay. Nice. And then we'll just like, I guess, color in this. I'm hesitant to call it hair. Fuck. Hold on. why wasn't I able to just color this one in, like, or paint it in, like the one down there? Paint. No matter how much I click, nothing's happening. Paletes. Oh. So if I just put that over there. And let's say I want to render it, no. I'm just gonna, there. Whatever I changed it to pink. It's weird. So I can, like, cut cells. Weird.
Your color options. So you can adjust your color right here, and if you want it to be transparent, you just adjust this alpha and you'll make it a transparent color. If you want to have a gradient, just select your gradient option right here. So when you're editing your gradient, to change any of these colors, just click this little house looking icon and just adjust the color, and you'll see it adjust automatically. If you want to add a color, just click in between any of these boxes here and it'll add another one, so you can adjust that color. And you can move these around, and you can also adjust their transparency using the alpha. So you can have it go from green to transparent blue to sort of a black. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Linear just means it goes from a straight gradient. Radial means it's more of a circle. So let's go with this monstrosity of a gradient. Let's call that gradient. So the cool thing about toonboom with its color is, let's say I have an animation, and right now it's only 5 frames long, but let's just say this is 5,000 frames of animation, and it's a turquoise bouncing blue ball. And your director, which can be yourself, honestly, comes by and says, hey, I want that turquoise ball to be green. In a different program, you'd have to edit every single one of those 5,000 frames to be a green ball. But in toonboom, we can just double click that ball color and change it green, and it changes it across the whole animation. Super useful. I love this feature. Here's a couple other things that are important to be aware of when you're drawing in toonboom. First, let's draw a circle, or at least the best circle we can for now. And let's say we want to fill it in with a gradient. Well, we know how to create a color. We double click on it, and to create a gradient, we'll select our gradient here. And let's go from white to black, and we'll make it a radial gradient. Looks good. And then we'll fill it in with our paint bucket tool. And with your paint bucket, you can select where the origin is, but let's say you want to modify it even further. You can hold down your mouse button on the white arrow tool, and you'll get this setting down here called Edit Gradient. And this way, we can edit our gradient using this Edit Gradient tool. So this is useful if you want to move gradients around or adjust them, change their scale, and rotate them, and do all sorts of stuff with your gradients. And this tool works on textures as well. If I were to create a new texture by clicking on this plus T button over here, this will let me import a bitmap, and I can use that to fill in on my colors as well. So I fill in my texture, and then I can use my Edit Gradient tool to change the scale. And if I want it to scale uniformly, just hold down Shift, and I can move my texture around, rotate it, and change it just like I could with my gradient. So let's say I want to cut out a chunk from this circle. Normally in other programs, you might think, oh, I select the black arrow tool and just select it right here. By the way, if you're not getting this lasso selection here, you can go under your tool options, and this first option here, you can do a marquee selection, so it selects with the rectangle, or you can go to your lasso tool, which is what I usually use. But let's say you want to cut out a circle from here. If I use the lasso tool, well, it selects the whole circle, and if I press delete, it deletes the whole thing. That's because if you want to do something like that, cut out a piece of artwork, you want to use the cutter tool. So the cutter tool is kind of like your eraser. The way toonboom draws by default is each one of these brush strokes is separated on its own. So if I select these, even though they're overlapping, you'll see it just selects each brush stroke I made. If you want to flatten these so they're not all separate brush strokes like this, you can just use the flatten tool, which is right here, or over here in the tool properties. And it'll flatten all the overlapping brush strokes into one brush stroke. So I drew overlapping lines here, but I don't want them to overlap. Well, the cutter tool comes in handy for stuff like this, because with this overlapping line, I can select it and press delete. Even though this is all one brush stroke, toonboom knows that this is an overlapping line, and I can select it and delete it. So this is useful to get nice smooth lines into your other shapes. So let's say you've drawn a character and you filled it in, and you want to give it some shading. How do you do that? Well, under your paint bucket tool, there's an option called stroke. And what this does is it draws an invisible line that you can use to section off parts of your drawing to fill in with a different color. I'll show you what I mean. If I were to fill in half of it like this, you'll get a message here that says you have added a stroke to the drawing, but it will not be visible unless you activate Show Strokes from the View menu. I know this will happen, so I say don't show this again and press OK, but I can't see where the stroke is that I made. Well, if I press the hotkey of K, I'll see where all of my strokes and outlines are, and you can see it even shows the outlines on my brush strokes here, shown in blue. But this is useful for seeing all the invisible strokes that I've made. And also if I draw any new ones, I'll see where those are made too. And then if I go to my paint bucket and I select my shading color and fill in, you'll see it only fills in up until this invisible stroke. And if I press K again, I'll see that stroke is not showing. And even if I go to the render view, I'll see that no strokes are showing. So that's a useful way to shade your character, is with the stroke tool. So now that we know how to draw in toonboom, let's learn how to animate. To add a layer, we need to do a drawing layer, which is this button right here. And you just click on it once, and it'll give you a couple options, whether you want it to be a vector or a bitmap. So that's like the difference between Flash for the vector or Illustrator, or bitmap as in like Photoshop or something. So I usually just do vector. It's a little bit easier to start out with and easier to work with. And we'll call this stick, because that'll be our character. And then we add and...
Okay, I guess I have to do this too. I'll just delete that layer. And add layer. Oh, that is a thing. And he said to just call it stick. Add? It's not quite right, is it? Hold on.
Close, and a drawing layer, which is this button right here.
Oh, okay, that. This button. And he said call it stick. Oh, okay, I'm just gonna switch that to Ace's back.
And you just click on it once, and it'll give you a couple options.
It didn't give me those options. Weird. Hold on. Disable layer. Enable slow-mo, add onion, unlock layer. Click outline mode. Ooh, what the fuck? Layer properties? Oh. That is a thing.
Whether you want it to be a vector or a bitmap. So that's like the difference between Flash for the vector or Illustrator.
Okay, hold on. Let me just delete that. So add drawing layer, add peg. Add drawing layer. And I think that'll work, maybe? I'm not sure. Oh, no, not Ace's back. Back again.
Illustrator or bitmap as in like Photoshop or something. So I usually just do vector. It's a little bit easier to start out with and
Okay.
easier to work with. And
Yeah.
we'll call this stick because that'll be our character. And then we add and close and
Okay.
we have our stick layer. So once we have our layer created,
Have our
let's draw our
stick
first
layer.
frame. We're going to do a simple walk cycle. So the way I like to do a walk cycle is start with what's called the contact position, which is where his foot contacts the ground like so. And on this position, he'll have his arms out like this. And then to draw the next frame, just go one frame forward, or you can use the period key and the comma key to go back and forward one frame. And to see the last frame that we drew, which is really important in animation, we have to turn on the onion skin, and we can see what our last drawing was. So with the onion skin on, it makes it easier to see what our next drawing needs to be.
Okay, hold on. I gotta draw the first thing. So I'll just, oh no. What the fuck? I wanna just use black. Okay, there we go. Simple black. And just put a circle in. So it's the period and comma keys, eh? And his next frame was the full impact. Oh, that was the eraser tool. I thought I selected the pencil on accident. Alright.
And we'll continue to animate using the onion skin, drawing each frame. And if you want to adjust how far back you want to look, you can drag these handles to see further back or not as far back of your previous drawings.
Okay.
All right, so I have one step of his walk.
Hold on. What did we just learn about? The cutter tool. The quitter tool. Delete. Alright. There we go. Oh, this is hard. What? To let this. Ugh. So I'm just gonna decrease the size a bit. Not a lot, but just a bit. So actually, he kind of looks like he's about to hop off of this foot. So, I've learned what I wanted to know. So, yeah. And we're gonna wait until that's rendered. Okay, this is looking good so far. Actually, let's get some fucking music up in this. This is a really dull stream so far, so let's get some bloody stream. If you don't know what bloody stream is, you're missing out. That's pretty loud. There we go. Now let's render and play. So this is what it looks like. Sorry that my doggo is. Ugh. Okay, so we're just gonna amputate the leg. The heck? No, that's not easing enough. Like a bloody song. Nice. Save as. I don't know. I'll just name it. Wait. Just name it Blood. You don't have permission to save this. Yes, sure. I kinda like that version better. Hold on, too. I don't know, I kinda like the coming out of it more. Alright, but anyway, enough of that shite. Let's look at the. Oh, hello. How are you? How are you, good sir? Good sir. All right. Nice. 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 I did not mean to pause my stream. But anyway, you got here just in time, 'cause I'm immediately stopping. And I'm gonna show you one of the Gmod projects I've been working on. I know, right? Scandalous. So, here's your ultra soon snack pack. Here it is.
How could this happen?
So yeah, that's your ultra sneak peek. Amazing, right? Awesome, even. But anyway,